it's bare. There's no nipple.
What do you mean?
I can't see it. It'd be like pinning the tail on the donkey. I'm going to try pointing.
No, look at this one. Look at his one.
Is that it?
What do you mean?
Look, where's the nipple? Right?
You see it. I can see it in the camera.
I did not think 2 minutes into the podcast I'm touching just nipples.
Hello and welcome back to Cash Me Outside, season 4.
Hi.
I don't even know.
Well,
we should have talked about what's.
I don't. We haven't actually established what a season is because there's a poem hunt, then the QR hunt. It's year 4.
I think this is our 4th poem hunt we've done, which is crazy to think. That's gone fast.
That has gone fast. Well, regardless, it's season 1 of video. So if you can see us, hello, I'm Caden, joined as always by Christian and Chad. And we're excited to kick things off. We got a lot to talk about, so we'll kind of start off with the where we've been, who we've been dating, things like that.
Yeah.
And
I'd say we're both excited and self-conscious because I don't know about you. Like normally when we just record audio, I am just slouched. I'm wearing whatever. I'm not very, and like in this, I'm like, my posture's good. I'm like focused on like.
True. He's not wearing his team issued Catch Me Outside shirt.
First of all, I purchased these shirts.
Yeah.
For the goodness of my heart, I purchased them.
Yeah.
I designed them, purchased them, everything. I got you one. It says your name on the back, and he's not wearing it.
I'll be honest.
He doesn't like the way he looks in it. Literally, he doesn't like the way.
Can I be super clear? I want to get to the point, pun intended here. So I put that shirt on, and I don't know what it is, but my nipples were just so visible, just like too many.
They've never been more visible.
More like they were just penetrating my shirt, and I didn't want to do that today to the audience.
Not today.
I didn't want to lead off with them. They would only. I want them to focus what's here, not just what's here.
Listen,
if they see my nipples, they won't listen to my.
Look,
good.
if you sit like this, you can see him. If you go like this,
you do that. It's bare. There's no nipple.
What do you mean?
I can't see it. It'd be like pinning the tail on the donkey. I'm going to try pointing.
No, look at this one. Look at his one.
Is that it?
What do you mean?
Look, where's the nipple? Right?
You see it. I can see it in the camera.
I did not think 2 minutes into the podcast I'm touching just nipples.
Oh man, we always get crazy on this.
No, but thank you for the
thank you for the shirts.
Shirts, they're cool. If anyone wants to know when we started the podcast, they can reference the shirt because it says "Cash Me Outside, Chasing Booty since 2020."
Yeah, I wish we could get it close. Can you show the? No, you can't show it.
But thank you to our listeners who actually voted for that as
that's blurry.
So it was a pretty good one.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
thank you for your participation. And we also have
by far.
Yeah, it was close.
It won by far.
We have. Do we want to talk about these right now?
Yeah, let's talk about the. Pass them over here. We got. We had to order 2 extra shirts because we needed the bulk order discount, and so we made a couple that are going to work for any award winning. Who do you give this to?
Jackie. She's the only one that can claim it.
So we're not giving this to anyone.
So we really only got 1 shirt that's up.
No, this is for
there's
Jackie.
2.
If you want a free shirt, you have to come out of the woodwork and tell us who you are, and we'll give you the shirt. We won't tell anyone who you are.
She's not going to come out of the woodworks, and so we'll have to give it to someone else.
Oh, okay, but maybe if you want to come get that shirt, girl, hit me up.
It's good. It's yours until July 15th, and then
so there's that one.
It's an ultimatum for Jackie.
And then there's.
This is also just for one person, Greg.
Greg, if you're listening, we miss you.
It's really a funny joke for 10% of our crowd. But
anyways,
yep,
we have 2 shirts.
Jackie and Oster.
What are the circumstances under which we give this to one of
I think
our listeners?
During the season we'll have some sort of contest, and the loser will get
this is really
shirt. Or if Greg wants it, he's going to get it. In fact, if we give it to someone and then Greg comes along, we're going to have to ask you to turn that back in so we can give it to Greg. Why did we get a medium for Greg?
Yeah, it's not going to fit in that.
Huge.
Yeah,
you can wear it as a neckerchief.
He can mount it on his wall.
Okay. Anyways, thank you again for the shirts. Quick little where have we been? What we've been up to?
Yeah.
Sure. Let's start with the most exciting person.
So first of all, we gotta apologize for missing the QR code hunt. I don't know if
can see what's happening.
Stop it. Guys,
I
stop.
don't know the next line.
We're not gonna go
There's
perfectly.
magic in the air.
Timon and Pumbaa.
I know I just
What?
don't know the next line. Oh, yeah, what?
There's magic in the air. Wait,
Don't
wait.
sing.
I
Hey,
can see what's
I let you
happening.
guys.
Oh, and they
stop.
don't have a clue.
Who?
They'll fall in love. Okay, he's in love. He's got a girlfriend. It's
Stop it.
It's
huge.
very serious.
It's good stuff.
I haven't been able to focus at work for a while.
We're gonna back up first, though. We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to
Ooh,
that.
a tease.
Okay, we'll get to that. We missed the last treasure hunt. Okay, we were all pretty busy. Christian had some big stuff going on. Hayden, I don't think he had anything going on. He just stopped texting us.
Yeah.
Which,
Went
you know,
dark.
That's not true.
did you like that? I found a way to get Hayden to text us back. What did I say? What did I
911.
say? No, I said, Caden, if you don't respond, I'm not voting for you because he's running for another city election. He
I was
responded
driving.
within 2 minutes.
I was driving home from Michigan.
and he was driving, so he
No. Not when you sent that one. I was able to respond to that one. I was driving when the other conversation was happening.
We're bouncing around. Caden is running for city council in Vineyard. Please vote for Caden. You can trust him. You don't need to know what his policies and his stances are. Just look at that face.
Look at the upside down vineyard hat.
You could have someone that looks like that in your city council. You got to take that. So if you're Vineyard, Caden, when they vote,
Please register to vote. The primary, I think, is the first week of August, and then the general election is in November. So do your civic duty, register to vote. I'm happy to answer any questions about, the roads or parking in the city of Vineyard, and looking forward to meeting you. But that's secondary to finding the treasure.
Right.
treasure
Yeah.
comes first.
And then Christian had some stuff going on.
Yeah. So we were surprised last year, in like August or September with a baby, and we didn't even know if Brie was pregnant. No, it was very exciting. He was born at 26 weeks, so just a little early.
How early is that?
So most pregnancies
16
go 40
weeks?
Sorry, what?
How early is that?
Yeah. 14 weeks are too early.
14.
So it's 3.5 months.
Yeah.
So it was really touch and go, but he's our little miracle child. We spent 4 months in the NICU at Primary Children's. But Jack, little baby Jack, came home about 2 months ago, and he's doing well. He's still on oxygen and a feeding tube. And he's got a kind of a long fight ahead of him, but we're just happy to have him. So my life has been consumed with that.
Yep.
And while that he's been a miracle in our life, that miracle is secondary to Chad
Wait, no.
having a girlfriend. We cannot emphasize enough.
First of all, I didn't start dating Becca until after all of that. Like that
No.
was this year. So
Miracles happen every year.
Well,
Right.
miracles happen once in a while. Cinderella story.
Becca is my first girlfriend. So
Woo!
so that everyone knows why they're so happy.
It's just amazing.
It's amazing.
I think every night before I go to bed, I think to myself, what are Chad and Becca doing right now? And I just smile. And I go to bed with a smile every night. Just
I'll
knowing that
FaceTime you every night.
honestly, you FaceTiming still wouldn't be as wonderful as the things I'm imagining.
Yeah.
And I'll say prefer that you don't.
You've met Becca. You haven't met Becca.
I've never met Becca. When did you meet her?
She's amazing. She came by the office.
She
Okay.
was here for 30 seconds.
It was delightful woman,
Wow.
intelligent, beautiful, funny,
She's an athlete. Listen,
athletic,
Athletic.
you guys want to hear that this is my favorite?
great teeth.
Great teeth. Do you want to continue?
No, I would, but I don't want to.
Yeah. So I got her into golf a little bit.
Ooh,
She's been
nice.
golfing. She's a naturally good swing. She's an athlete.
Mm.
Listen, I made a collection on Instagram like Becca's golf tips where I put little golf videos
Mhm.
and she's been watching them. She'll talk about them later, which made me super happy. But this weekend, she put a video into the golf tips. collection.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
That's how
all
we
I'm
knew
saying.
she was the one.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
It's
So
pretty good.
sorry, everyone. Chad is off the market for now, but hopefully forever and eternity. And we're very happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's very
I'm happy
exciting.
for you and Caden.
Thanks.
As well.
Thank you.
Caden
Yeah.
got politics, which is fulfilling to some
Politics,
people.
babies, and booty. All right. Well, let's get into it. I don't know how many people are interested in hearing about our personal lives, but we are very excited to do this. We're excited to be back. We don't do the QR code hunts, I think, We had a lot of things going on. Also, QR code hunts.
It's
are
hard to do
It's so hard to do
podcast about.
this one.
We get tons of criticism because when we do episodes, we're usually not trying to leak things, but we have
I
to
don't
talk
know
about
about-
them somewhat recently to what just happened, and then people get annoyed that we're giving spoilers. But if we're too delayed, then people don't listen because they don't care because we're so far behind. So the poem hunts definitely yields are better for the podcast. So we're excited to do this again, and we're committed to doing this at least.
Yeah.
Okay, we jump in and talk about the poem.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, so our agenda for this episode is we're going to go over the 6. I keep looking. Are you guys looking at the camera?
I'm kind of
I have
looking.
been.
I don't know.
Hi, audience. We're gonna
Just talking to the mic.
okay. So our format for this episode is we're going to dive into the first 6 lines of the poem and give our kind of knee-jerk reactions and ideas for each line.
Yeah.
It's early. The poem has only been out for 24 hours, so we're just kind of spitballing. Obviously, what we've learned with these treasure hunts is that there's a lot of layers to these things, and oftentimes our first instincts are wrong, but sometimes we'll get one early that hopefully we'll do the same thing.
Yeah. Do we want to review the previous solve, or do we want to just
I
dive
think-
into the?
Look, I think there's 2 super important things when you're starting, like literally the first week of the treasure hunt. I personally don't believe that it's possible because you need
additional info.
You need
the
additional
boundary.
at least for the second half of the poem, which is one of the reasons we're only going to look at the first half. First 4 lines really is where I want to focus, but we'll look at all of it. But yeah, I don't remember what I was saying. But the second reason, or the second super important thing, is to know how John and Dave think when they're coming up with his poems. Like, I just think that a lot of people, you see it on Reddit, think very literally, and they'll go the entire hunt thinking that I'm trying to reference something from last season, a tower. What was the tower thing? Never mind.
Lighthouse Lounger.
They'll go, for example, the entire hunt thinking fabled words resound, and this first line is going to be a library or an amphitheater. The 2 most obvious answers, and they'll just stick with that. And so we'll go through, like, to your point, you asked about the solve video from last year. We'll go through that, and I think we should do that first.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think, Christian? Do you want to go through
Let's do it. Yep.
So just to start out before we get into this year's poem, we're going to look at last year's poem, the solve video that Dave did, kind of explaining their thought process, how they come up with the poems. I think it's super important.
And we're really just going to look at the first 6 lines to get an idea of how that translates to how we can think about this first 6 lines.
My crew was as carefully chosen as the disciples of Christ, and I will not tolerate stowaways. You will be flogged, and when we put into Cuba to resupply, God willing, you will be flogged some more, and then enslaved on the sugar plantations for the rest of your miserable lives. To the break.
What's up, guys? It's Dave coming from John's office, getting this solve video put together. Hey, besides just walking through the solve, we had the idea of kind of just explaining our thought process too, putting this poem together. So let's start at the beginning. When it's that time of year, early spring, when John and I are trying to figure out where to hide this chest, because we always hide the chest first and then write the poem. We work backwards. Originally, we actually wanted to hide the chest in these mountains just west of Tooele. So for a week or 2, we were hiking all up these trails, but a lot of it is more remote than you think. It kind of takes a while to get all the way out here. And then there's a lot of dirt roads. There's gates that are closed depending on the season. So after a week or 2, we actually were pushed west, and we were looking in these mountains that split, just Salt Lake County and Tooele County. But a lot of this is privately owned, Kennecott, Rio Tinto, and there's some public trails and stuff, but it's a little confusing about what's public and what's private. And so that pushed us south to Utah County because we haven't, showed a lot of love to Utah County with these poem hunts. And we thought it was the perfect opportunity to kind of do what a lot of requests we've gotten over the years is to do the poem in Spanish. And we thought, well, we haven't been anywhere near Spanish Fork before, which is always kind of like the southern border of the boundaries that we release. So we thought it would be a great excuse to do a poem in Spanish. So the fact that it's in Spanish is a clue in and of itself. And I know a lot of you right out of the gate, just because it wasn't Spanish, started looking at Spanish Fork. And we knew you would. And that's kind of when we had the idea of What if the first few lines didn't get you to the trailhead, but actually got you to the right county? All right, so let's just jump right into the poem. This year we wanted to have an epic treasure hunting quote made by a Spanish explorer to start us off. And that's how we came across this quote by Cortez. Si sufres dolor que se cura con oro. Just such an epic quote. Which obviously, we're going to need this information later down in the poem. But to the next line, busca el atajo donde canta el coro. Okay, so this line is pretty much getting us to the Dominguez and Escalante expedition, because they were literally looking for a shortcut between Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Monterey, California. And the choir, so El Coro, this is referring to the fact that they were priests. And I mean, since the Middle Ages, the priests have sung in choirs, in these cathedrals, in the chancels, for 1,000 years. So the choir is Dominguez and Cortez because they were priests who were looking for a shortcut, which is pretty much Spanish Fort Canyon. They came down Spanish Fort Canyon.
Sorry, two people singing is not a choir, but we can continue.
Didn't you? I remember, like, on our podcast, I think you called the choir I remember you talking about the chancel. Is that what it's called?
Well, yes, you mean in the chancel.
In the church?
Yeah, no, I was making a joke.
Priests,
I'm making a joke. There's tons of people that complain about these poems, and it doesn't matter. Your complaints don't matter, because you can come up with a million solves, and those solves could be fine. They're not the right ones. So
Right.
There's one right answer,
Mhm.
and they're the ones who hide it. They get to choose it, and they have to walk such a hard and fine line.
I don't think they do. I think they could just hide it, make a difficult poem, and never give people clues. It's their money. They can do what they want.
Yeah, I'm just
people can still.
It's like so hard to write a poem that's compelling enough that people were interested in trying to solve it, without being so hard that it alienates people. Easy enough that they'll eventually find it.
But
do it somewhere in 4 to 12 weeks. So it's not so fast. It was over so fast that the sponsors are bad. They didn't get their money's worth, but not so long that people get burned out. Like, it's just such a hard thing they have to figure out.
It is hard, but putting yourself in their shoes, which way would you lean?
I would lean
to a hard poem, and people can deal with it.
And that's generally what they've done, especially the last 3 years.
For sure.
It's going to be harder than you think.
Yeah. So that's another.
Back at the same. Just joking.
Sorry, Kim. Sorry for Christian.
Spanish Fort Canyon, which gets us to the next line. Encuentra el lugar por el cual se nombra. So this is actually the cross, which I think a lot of you figured out too. This is the Escalante cross that is kind of commemorating their expedition. So if we look at the cross and we read the next line, dale la vuelta y sigue la sombra. So dale la vuelta actually came because I think in all of them, in every single poem hunt that we've had, when we release the boundaries almost always cut off at Spanish Fork. And so, almost 100% of everyone in this treasure hunt lives north of Spanish Fork. So whether you visited the cross virtually or physically, what we're saying is, okay, now turn around and follow the shadow, which points you northwest. So we're looking for a canyon or a trailhead in Utah County, northwest of the Spanish Fork, the Escalante Cross, the Spanish Fork. Which gets us to the next line. And what we knew that we wanted to have a line in here that was so simple that most people would discard it because of how simple it was.
If you believe Moriarty has you under observation, isn't this a bit conspicuous?
It's so overt, it's covert.
So, ¿dónde aprendes a oler el helado? So where do you learn to smell ice cream? Well, where do you learn anything is at a school. And this quote, to smell ice cream, is...
I don't think that's as overt as he is considering. Where you go to smell ice cream, or to
I didn't learn to use a toilet at school.
Yeah, where do you go?
Yeah, I think it's the Goonies connection that's more to this.
It's not obvious though, because he's talking about learning and the G on the mountain. You'll see him or hear him talk about it.
Yeah,
it's a school G, and the G is the Goonies.
To smell ice cream is directly from the Goonies. So we're learning from the school of the Goonies, which is represented by the letter G on the mountain. In Utah, there are a lot of letters on mountains. I think there's at least 87. And you have BYU, Utah, you have all of these high schools. And the story behind Pleasant Grove, actually, in 1920, the principal and the student body, to kind of celebrate their high school, put the G on the mountain. So it's been up there for over 100 years. Okay, so that gets us to the G on the mountain, which gives us a few options. So we have Battle Creek to the south, and we have Grove Creek to the north. So let's look at the next line. O comimos langostos en el pasado. So when we were actually researching the Escalante and Dominguez expedition, one of the first things we saw was that it happened in 1776, which, is an important year for America. And so we were thinking, how do we get from Spanish Fork to a trail somewhere in Utah County? And that's when we thought of this flag that they fly every single year in Grove Creek Canyon. I don't know if it's the biggest flag that flies in America, but it's one of the biggest flags. It's like over a quarter of an acre. It's a few hundred pounds. It's massive. You can see it from the freeway, and they light it up at night. I mean, it's pretty epic. So that line, O comimos langostos en el pasado, where did we eat lobsters in the past? So this is kind of commemorating that in 1776, we declared war on the British for our independence, and we, defeated the lobsterbacks, the British soldiers in the Revolutionary War. This is what it's referring to. Okay.
Okay, so that's the first 6 lines. I don't hate either, honestly.
The lobsters line, I think, was fine. I like it a lot more than I like the Goonies line because I think that's just a tougher connection. But I think what the point was saying is, okay, if we look at past poem hunts, the first 2 lines usually took you to the trailhead.
Yeah.
Which, because that is so important, they usually made those 2 lines super abstract, really hard to understand. Took a long time for people to figure it out. They had to give clues, multiple weeks for people to figure out that trailhead, right? Because once people figure out the right trailhead, you don't even need to solve the rest of the clues because there's enough people there. They're going to stumble across this treasure usually, right? And so making the trailhead hard. Last year was unique in that they didn't make the trailhead was what in the 7th line.
Yeah.
And so because of that, there actually were a little bit of like some layups early on. The Spanish Fork one really was as easy as it's in Spanish, right? But the important fact of that is like, yeah, the reason it was a layup is because there were so many other things you had to do and follow to get to the actual trailhead that it didn't matter with it being a layup. So as we look at this poem, I think what we can kind of realize is like, okay, is it something similar they've done in past years where these first 2 to 3 lines are going to be really hard, really abstract and get you to the trailhead? Or are they going to be a little bit more literal and there's a progress that maybe we're going to the trailhead 6, 7, 8 lines?
Yeah.
Sorry, continue. Oh, I was just going to say, one thing that stood out to me too, when we rewatched it just barely, was they choose the location before they write the poem, and they kind of take into fact. Yeah, so they write it backwards, but they also factor in where they've hidden it in the past. And so I think now that we're 4 or 5 years deep into this, we can maybe use past locations as a clue before we even start looking at the poem to see, okay, they've done some down in Utah County. The boundary is usually Utah and Salt Lake County, so they're probably going to go up to Salt Lake County again or whatever, right? Like, I think that's something that we could consider.
Yeah.
I would say it can like cue you in on places to look a little bit more, but shouldn't eliminate you looking places other than that, right? Like if you have a great salt in Pleasant Grove, like follow that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
but it's always worth going.
Go up Battle Creek Canyon the first time you go.
There's always a big question mark with whatever solve you have. Another element, because you were talking about literal solves and abstract solve. I feel like another dimension to that is cleverness and stupidity. Like, according to us, is like, oh, this solves stupid or this solves really clever. I like it because it's clever, or I don't like it because it's stupid. And how that's like, that's almost kind of a dangerous way of thinking with this, because there were some in this that were clever. Yeah, there were some that were literal, but you pointed out like a lot of people are not happy about the choir line, right? Last year, where it was like, where the translation is, look for the, no.
They didn't like the line with
look for the shortcut where the choir sings. The choir singing, like Dave was saying, was it 2 priests? Just as priests sing in a, and it was the Dominguez and Escalante, and that gets you Escalante Cross. So that stupidity dimension is it's a 4th dimension of this that we, and I'm not calling Dave stupid. I'm just, according to us. Okay.
Stupid's the wrong word for us.
Yeah. Clever and what
it's relative. I think
it is relative. That's the point I'm trying to make. But yeah, if someone pushing back on your solve, good. Like,
yeah, if they're thinking like, oh no, this is really good, but that's a little too literal. It's like, it's not every single line is going to be a freaking Da Vinci Code. Like, there's going to have to be some that are way more abstract and some more.
And some of those are planned. Like he said it. Like, yeah, we wanted this one to be literal.
Yeah. So I think should we start going into the poem and throwing out our ideas for each line?
Let's do it.
Once again, this is not a ton of preparation, not a lot of time. We actually haven't even talked to each other about our interpretations of these lines yet. So we'll be kind of learning as we go. But some of these, like I said, we're throwing stuff on the wall, speaking of the wall. So some of these might be interesting or clever to you. And some might be like, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And just deal with it. Okay. Lead us off.
Okay, so the first line, begin your search where fabled words resound. Initial thoughts on this?
Yeah, I've thought of the video game Fable.
Okay.
I mean,
That right?
it's good word
That's
association.
yeah.
No,
No,
that is a word. Huh?
okay, I don't know why I said that. I'm going to cut that out. Like an idiot.
I
right.
did see someone
No.
say that there's like a Fable Haven or books,
The book,
Oh,
yeah.
Fablehaven. Yeah,
and the
those are good.
author of it lives up in Alpine.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Okay, see,
I-
I like that.
but I don't think they give a clue that relates to like the location of someone's home, because
Yeah,
people are
that-
going to be like, go find this guy's
Yeah,
house and be
yeah.
like,
No.
this is where we start.
But it's possible that like Fablehaven was written about an area, or something in Fablehaven was like written about an area in Utah because the author lives here.
Yeah,
He might have used a location from Utah in his books.
yeah.
So that is very interesting to me. I like that a lot.
But just give this guy privacy.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
his
go
house
to
to
his house.
Alpine.
And
That's funny.
is it look upable?
I probably, I don't know.
Probably.
Kate and I are
Would-
from Alpine. We know people.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't-
So fabled words. I mean, obviously, when they say fabled, I guess like my first thought is like iconic or famous.
Right.
Technically, fabled could be like, did this happen? Like it's a legend or lore that is not even
Sure.
certain if it actually did happen. So I don't know, like if that cues us in on anything, but and then like the word resound, like there's a couple different definitions from resound. Like it could
Mhm.
be like just like where it's documented, could be where it's celebrated. Resound could be just like resound, like echo, like
Yeah.
a place where,
echo or amplified.
which is amplified is interesting with amphitheater being an idea.
Yeah. I mean, those are the obvious. Those are the three obvious solves for resound, or like for fabled words resound. Honestly, library, amphitheater, and what was the other one?
Well-
Echo Canyon. There's so many echo
Yeah.
areas.
Or just like any like monument that has to do with a quote, or like even a quote is etched into.
that's literally every monument.
I know. Well,
Right.
not every monument will have a direct quote, right?
Maybe.
And even where like even if it has a direct quote, maybe where it's something more like iconic to Utah history, something happened.
Like
Yeah.
this is the place.
That's the most obvious one. I think
Yeah.
everyone's like rolling their eyes at that. Like he's used this as the place before.
Right,
There's
right,
no
right.
way he's going to use it.
I
again.
doubt he would use that again.
But it is.
You think?
There is
Who
the most famous quote in Utah history, and
For
there's
sure.
a specific monument where it's celebrated.
I mean, maybe. I mean, he does have. They do have a sort of callback quote. Like it could be considered a callback. It might be in the second part of the poem.
I was going to say like it could be if this is the place, and this like these lines are like you're triangulating something, and there's
Sure.
it's like yeah, that's so easy, but you need like point 2, 3, and 4 to actually figure out where you're going.
I
That-
really
Give
want
me
them to
something
do that.
layup early.
I really want them to do that. Was that 2 years ago that you came up with that solve? Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
triangulation.
Was that?
Yeah.
Very
And it was a
Um,
triangle. It was supposed to be.
It is a U. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say they do
Yeah.
trace the steps of the lion-hearted teams that jump forward just a little bit here, but I kind of thought of like the QR code hunts. They track team names,
Oh yeah.
and I mean that could be a callback to a past hunt or something someone did or something like.
There's a team that has something like a lion in it. We're supposed to like find where they live. Like the steps.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
No, I like it. Other famous quotes and things that have happened. MLK spoke at the University of Utah.
Okay.
A lot of presidents have actually spoke at the Mormon Tabernacle. Reagan, Nixon, JFK spoke there as well. So I don't know like iconic quotes they have from those, but I mean, well, notorious like people who spoke in Utah.
well notorious.
Yeah, well, notorious.
Yeah.
I love it.
Infamous.
Yeah.
They're so famous.
Infamous. They're so famous. Okay. Anyways, yeah. One last point. I don't really have any other solve ideas for this line, but one last point about Fablehaven that I like No, stop. We're looking. There's kind of still a big question mark in the air of which pop culture reference they're using in this poem. They have the Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd, but when have they not done a movie? They
do say Princess Peach, and there are some Super Mario movies.
So there's a video game, there's a song. Yeah, there's movies for that. I'm sure there's a Pink Floyd documentary. Like
it'd be interesting if there's another one.
I'd be surprised. It'd be interesting.
No, I'm just saying, like, besides the obvious Dark Side of the Moon and Princess Peach, if there's another one hidden in, you're like,
I'd be surprised if there weren't.
Yeah, that's true. There is usually one they give
that they have, like, they love this movie.
Yeah,
they have to include it because they love it. They do Indiana Jones. They do.
I thought the one was fun where they did like 3 different movies. They did like Return of the King, Two Towers, and
that was cool. I liked that.
So other table, like there's a Timpanogos storytelling festival, which sounds silly, but it's actually pretty well known storytelling festival.
I mean, my first thought.
Oh really? Yeah. Did you have?
We just stumbled upon it. I was like, what? What's going on? We were just going up the canyon to like hang out in the park. And the people we walked
telling stories.
Yeah, we were like, okay, this is kind of cool.
That's cool.
Anyways, there were fables told.
Yeah,
the words did resound because there were microphones.
So that's a good point. As far as fables, like that's the most likely place where a fable would be told.
True.
It would be
at a storytelling festival.
That's kind of cool idea.
My first thought, which I think is wrong,
Tuacahn?
No, close. But when I first read this, I thought about the Utah Shakespeare Festival in Cedar City, but I don't think that they would change the boundaries and have it be.
I would love it if they did entire Utah.
I just don't think they could do it because they've got such a following here in this area where they do it. Like you could say, yeah, they pick up more, but I think tons of people would be like opt out if they knew it's the whole state, like basically the whole state. They're like, I can't travel that far. I can't search.
I can't on a whim go down to
yeah,
for sure.
Language. Be kind of fun though.
I think it'd be fun.
It would be fun.
Road trips.
But I like Southern Utah wilderness.
I already have to feel very confident to get out.
I guess the boundary map is going to be nearly identical to what we've seen.
Yeah.
Okay. The next line: before the standing stairs and kings were crowned. Interesting with the before, because that could be for as in like chronologically before,
or standing in front of, or
standing in front of, or even like, just like in a map. It comes before the earlier line.
It could be like a vague reference to Utah history following the first line, begin your search where fabled words resound, a moment in history before the standing stairs and kings were crowned, another moment in history.
Which means that we'd have to go way back in time before kings were crowned to a fable. I mean, Utah.
Like, a king can be very... Like LeBron James.
That's a good point. This could be before LeBron James came into the league. That's a really good point. Let's dig into that.
I don't know.
Before the standing stairs, I actually think this is kind of a tricky line, but kind of a fun one.
It is a fun one.
Standing stairs, there's been people thinking like amphitheater, bleachers, like places where stairs where you
the Delta Center.
What are your thoughts?
I like ladder better than...
I think that's my favorite, because it's a ladder.
A standing, like saying stadium seating, it kind of ignores standing. Yeah, you can stand down. And I don't know. I don't really like that.
East High Football Stadium, where homecoming king is crowned there.
It's a really good point.
That's also every...
Most high schools.
Sure.
But the East specifically, because...
Troy Bolton.
Baby. I think ladder's the best for this because, I mean, it's like not so literal, but a little abstract, but I think ladder. And there's a lot of things you could relate to a ladder. Like Jacob's ladder is like a actual hike that you can go on. It's within the boundaries of where they've had it past years.
Also a carnival game at Lagoon.
Yeah. It could be literally like there's some hikes where it's so steep, they put in like wooden like
steps.
Yeah. That kind of feels like a ladder. It's not like straight up. But like if you're trying to find a trailhead and which one you go to, the one that is before that one that has the standing steps. And maybe there's another trailhead that has some sort of reference to
a king
being crowned. Or a date or age or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of doubt this line is referring to a physical location. I think we're still in story I think we're still in looking at Utah history, looking at quotes, looking at, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think that we're looking at Jacob's Ladder. Even if,
Can I throw something at you?
yes.
Please.
Utah Monarchs, the soccer team, Salt Lake.
Yeah.
They won the championship in 2019. So something happened before the Monarchs were crowned.
RSL also won the
Yeah.
championship in like 2008 or whatever that was.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, I mean they don't have like kings, right? Like there's no.
Real Salt Lake?
Yes. Is there anything king related?
Real
is like
Spanish
royal.
for royal.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's why there's
That makes sense. There's a crown on it.
yeah.
This whole time, I thought just meant they're the real ones. I thought there was like
You just pronounced it
I
Real.
thought
Real Salt
I
Lake.
thought there was like a team.
It's like
Salt
it's
Lake?
like
They're like, no, we're the real.
it's like when a celebrity has an Instagram account and it's like the real Ned.
Yeah. Oh,
we're
like
the
the
real
real sweet life of Zach and Cody.
Sure.
Should I be saying the real sweet life of Zach and Cody this whole time?
Maybe.
Okay, this is cool. They both won championships.
Is your chair sinking?
It's sinking, and it's frustrating.
Is
See,
this
people
another
think
one?
I'm smaller than Chad. I've got 4 inches on Chad, and as we're progressively talking, I'm just going down smaller. I need to lose some weight. I get it, Chair. What?
That's insane. I don't.
There's no lever. It's pissing me off. Okay, I'm tall. Okay, so I kind of like this with the Salt Lake. Also, John is a season ticket holder for RSL.
Oh,
He
really?
loves soccer.
Oh, that's true.
He loves
Dave
soccer,
likes
too.
soccer too. Yeah.
They're both big soccer guys, and they haven't put any like soccer related clues.
No, they haven't.
That's true.
And also, the next line talks about the lion-hearted teams. They have a lion
As their
on their
mascot.
jersey,
Yeah.
and their mascot is a lion. It seems a little bit too on the nose, but maybe not.
Where does that lead us though? Like,
don't
go-
like-
we
take
talk about
we
the
take
soccer
fields for the Monarchs. We take the fields for the RSL.
Is it not the
and we
same
take
field?
the this is the
Do you-
place. Do they not?
I
play that?
don't know. They might have different fields. If there are, I don't know.
Let me get you.
It's okay. I'm going to keep
You
talking.
draw a
about you.
triangle from this is the place to the field.
Yeah. And the tracing the steps they go are the path towards the goal that they when they're on the home side, going
Ooh.
towards their goal.
Nice.
Like that if you're trying to trace the steps of the teams, then you'd want to follow where those teams go. And they when they're at home, they're always going to go the same way to start the games. And since this
is that true?
they have the home side and the away side, right?
I just know in basketball the home team can choose, and sometimes they choose.
I think in pro,
depending on who they're playing.
there's a coin flip.
Oh, it's they
In
do
soccer?
it's like football.
You know what? I played soccer my entire life. I have no idea.
I thought in
I just
soccer
know-
there's like a kind of way you start and go and like for your home side.
Yeah, there might
Maybe
be. There
switch
might actually be.
Because it's the first half of the poem. It's the first half of the game, so you go.
You know what? Someone comment and tell us if that's true, because I know in the playoffs, in the
This is
basketball playoffs just recently, they brought it up because the Timberwolves elected to choose a different side
that's weird.
because of defense or something.
Interesting. Which is I've never seen that happen. Anyways, anything else for the Stand Stairs and Kings Were Crowned?
No, but that feels like the most important line to me.
I know.
Honestly, it feels very important.
Yeah.
It gives important vibes.
Because you need that. Well, you don't necessarily need that. You need the next two are connected.
Yeah,
The Kings Were Crowned isn't necessarily connected to.
it is the first line because
it's
that says
connected to the
before.
first,
It's
yeah,
and we don't
that's
know if
true.
it's
Well,
chronological or
that's true.
before in like
Do
location.
you think that case? So let's go down the road of this is Utah history, or it's a book, or it's something like.
Or it's some other pop
Okay.
culture media.
The first line would be
Perfect.
the medium, right? Where fabled words resound. That's not telling you the thing, the book
place.
itself.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
just
It's not
two-
telling the book itself. It's not telling the quote itself.
Yeah.
The
What,
second line.
so real
would
quick,
be talking-
was it 2 lines where they say like crack open the books,
yes.
where they're just telling you to do some like
The
look into Utah history?
Research. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But
Yeah.
kind of the same idea.
Right. Yeah. Kind of like that. Before the standing stairs and kings were crowned. That feels a lot more like some random book or quote. Does it not? That sounds like something very specific and random.
Are we supposed to look for a book that's older than when kings were crowned? Old Testament?
Like, yeah.
Trace the steps
biblical.
of lion-hearted teams like the
It's
pioneers.
before Jacob's ladder in the Bible. It's before the ladder, before the kings were crowned.
I mean,
First
go-
king was Solomon. David? I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Going down a different route, trace the steps of lion-hearted teams, the pioneers coming across to found Utah.
Yeah.
It's like it feels right to me where you're going through a story only outshone by a Jules and Yielding Gleam. Like, what's the jewel? Like, was there a reference by Brigham Young or one of the early pioneers that like referred to Salt Lake, to this Great Salt Lake as a jewel? Or do you know what I mean? Like, it feels lined up in a story format.
I mean, in Finding Nemo, they talk about it being the jewel of the
Pacific.
Pacific.
What?
Sydney? I don't know. Something. The aquarium where the kids, yeah. Okay. I do like to trace the path, the steps of the Lionheart teams. I do think that lyrically just did the pioneers.
Yeah.
Like a team of oxen, team of handcarts were called teams, and they're obviously very brave.
Or companies.
Yeah, they could have said, but they could have said brave. They said lionhearted is like, it feels like that's true.
Lionhearted feels like a very specific word.
Yeah.
Lionheart is probably the most important word in that sentence.
That's why people get fixated on RSL, because their emblem is right there on their heart.
So it's just so literal. But I mean, I've already,
Yeah. Oh, can I say one other thing that I think was kind of interesting when I was looking it up with the Lionhearted teams? So Chelsea is, did I pronounce that right?
Chelsea. It's like
The football
have you heard
team?
of a girl's name?
Chelsea.
Or the girl.
Chelsea.
Why are you saying Chelsea?
It's Chelsea.
Chelsea.
No.
Chelsea.
You're
I'm
pronouncing
saying
it like
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
There's no, it's
It's
Chelsea.
It's Chelsea.
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 That's not weird. Because if I'm going to see
No.
Chelsea, I'm going to freak out.
No.
Chelsea.
Just Chelsea.
Just keep
Well,
it
hello,
Chelsea.
Chelsea. That's
Chelsea.
the most.
Okay, shut up.
It's Chelsea.
Yeah, they're playing Chelsea. Chelsea's first time that they've shut up. Chelsea is a very famous soccer team.
Yes.
They very famously have a lion on their there. And the
Yes.
first time that they've ever come to the United States to play a team was they came in 2022 to play ourselves.
Interesting.
Yeah. All I'll say about that is I watch a lot of Premier League. The Lion is on there because it's an English Premier League. Most of the Premier League teams have some lion involved.
Well, we had one that came and played ourselves. Cool. We followed their flight path.
Ooh.
The hardest line for me in this entire poem is only outshone by the jewels unyielding gleam. Because number one, it's connected to the previous line where it says trace the steps of Lionheart teams only outshone by jewels unyielding gleam. And I just have no idea of what this could, the jewels unyielding gleam. You mentioned maybe a quote where somebody talks about the jewel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why, but I thought of a pond or lake or water where
Just 'cause it, like, shimmers.
There's a shimmer and there's a gleam. But I don't love that. I don't like it. Otherwise, you're looking at like mines and stuff. Did you look at mines?
Yeah.
Just precious metals, kind of copper mine described as a gleam from above or something like that. I don't know if that was just GPT just making a stretch for me, or if it's actually, it had quotation marks. It's been described as gleaming from above, and it has precious metals involved. I don't know.
Interesting. In the year 2000, Salt Lake City Mayor Rocky Anderson, at the reopening of the Gagall Sculpture Garden in Salt Lake City, he referred to the garden as an absolute jewel.
Cool.
Okay.
So it could
Great.
be.
So RSL was outshone by that garden.
Look, looking pretty good.
When you're Rocky Anderson saw RSL, he's like,
go right now.
"This is good. This is great."
Yeah, but did you?
But this garden
is an absolute jewel.
Oh, man,
But that's the thing that
Rio
that's hard.
Tinto is the sponsor of the stadium for
Yeah.
Real Salt Lake. Rio Tinto.
What is that?
Isn't that a mine? What does that
I
mean? in
think they
Spanish? Mine?
were. I don't know that they
Never
are anymore.
I have no idea. What does Rio Tinto mean?
I don't think they are anymore. Isn't it?
It isn't. It's a life advantage.
Oh, really?
Life advantage. Life advantage.
You're right. But
No, but the field is like First America Field now or something, right? It was Rio Tinto Stadium.
Yeah, but we're talking about before.
But before,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
It's
true.
saying like, hey, before the
Before it was,
before the stadium started when kings were crowned. So before Real Salt Lake came into existence,
before they won their championship,
before the,
they were sponsored by Rio Tinto,
That's true.
which does mining. So
Okay.
the conspiracy goes right to the top.
trace the steps of Lionheart teams only outshone by jewels. They were only outshone by their sponsor because they provided the money by which they won the championship.
Yeah,
I tell you right now, if I find that Rio Tinto sponsors the Gagale sculpture ordinance, I'm going to freak
You're
out.
going. You're calling
Uh,
us at 2 a.m.
Are we willing to rule out Jewel, the singer, being from Utah?
I'm not willing to rule out
She's from
anything
Utah.
at this point.
She's from Utah.
Yes, I rule that out.
I'm not ruling anything out yet.
Can we talk about the fact that Jules does not have an apostrophe?
It's also not capitalized.
I noticed that.
When has a typo been a clue? It has never been a clue.
Yeah, there
Not
was.
once.
Yeah.
There was.
Yeah.
When?
In the Spanish one, right?
Yeah, the Spanish one had like a missing letter. There was like a small. Yeah, there was something. Or the year before that, there was like a.
It was something that was intentional.
I want to hear specifically what
No,
that
can't
but
remember
if
what it
there
was.
is a typo and it's a problem, like a real typo, they come out and say it. They did
Yeah.
that with Princess. They misspelled Princess, which we'll get into next episode. But this year, a lot of people called out the fact that Jules has no apostrophe, and they have not come out and said that that was a deliberate
Yeah,
typo.
they're so busy. Like they rarely.
No, I mean, like, I'm serious. Like, I think the fact that they haven't come out and said anything about that is a clue. I think the fact that Jules doesn't have an apostrophe until they come out and say, "Oh yeah, that was a typo,"
Mhm.
I think that means something. I have no idea what it means.
It doesn't. I don't even understand it if it doesn't have an apostrophe.
Only outshone by a Jules. A Jules.
Oh,
A Jules in yielding
Oh,
length.
one more time.
A Jules.
Jules. Okay.
A Jewels.
Only outshone.
wait,
by
isn't a jewel a type of that's spelled differently, right?
What?
Isn't like a
Jule, like
Yeah.
electricity.
Yes, it
Electricity.
is. Yeah.
I got nothing for this, man.
I
I mean,
confused.
yeah.
I don't think you go down that route.
I mean, I will say this: like, lion-hearted teams, for kings were crowned. Maybe a reference to the Olympics, 2002.
I will say, did you guys?
the jewels and yielding gleam, talking about obviously gold, silver, bronze. O.C. Tanner that made them all.
Yeah.
Filled with diamonds and things like that, precious metals. Maybe some reference to the Olympics.
I think in Egyptian, like mythology or whatever you call that, history.
Yeah,
Your
continue.
face. The sun is considered a jewel. Like it's referred to as a jewel, is it not?
Hmm.
And there is
I
another
don't know.
Egyptian reference in the poem, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was.
I mean, it's certainly an unyielding gleam.
It doesn't yield.
Is there
It
some,
has yet to yield.
wherever the lion-hearted teams, there's something that's shiny and reflecting the sun? I don't know.
The trophy.
Solar farm.
There's a sun monument. It's not going to be in the boundaries.
Cool. Doesn't seem like we're saying that.
All right.
Okay, in the next line, the next line says, "If you get lost, just follow the arrow."
I think that's literal.
Yeah. Christian brought up that there was concrete arrows across Utah and maybe across.
Well, there are, huh? Yeah, that was a part of your
Previous
song.
soul where literally there was a big arrow
Yeah.
pointing to where I thought it was.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't there.
But there are concrete arrows that they use to direct
There's like 15 of them.
planes. There's 11 still.
Wow.
They took down most of them, but there's 11 arrows that are still intact. It says
There used to be used to like guide airplanes.
to guide airplanes because they just used before modern instruments.
How do we tell them where to go? Let's do it. An arrow on the ground.
Well,
Yeah,
before
New Mexico, you missed the arrow. Like it was cloudy.
because they would just use landmarks to fly, but at night they can't. So they would light up the arrows.
Oh, I love that we had the technology.
Why not
to
a
light
lighthouse?
Something.
Like, yeah, I feel like we had the technology to fly. Man learned how to fly, but they didn't figure out how to figure out where to
Put some
go.
Christmas lights around.
Had a
the
50-foot tower built in the middle of it with a spotlight shining on it so pilots could clearly see it from the air.
There's got to be a better solution. Anyways,
There is. It's called GPS.
yeah.
What a terrible job that you had. That you're like the spotlight for just the arrow.
I don't think there was a person.
That makes
there.
sense.
Well,
because it's not moving.
This reminds me of the Nate Bargatze skit where he's guarding the water tower and he's got the lantern.
Against the Taliban.
Not skit.
Yeah, it makes sense. There's not a person in that tower. It's just, it's just an arrow.
I can't believe
Concrete. It's not Christian. I was thinking of a terrible of a job that was.
that's funny.
Just in the middle.
It does
of
feel like a
nowhere, just
lighthouse
having
would do
spot.
a better job. Why not just do a lighthouse?
Because it doesn't tell you where to go. It just you see the light
It's a
But
good
you
point.
don't know
Well, if
where you see a line of lights, you follow the line of
But
lights.
then you have to put
It's not the
way more
beacons
light.
of Gondor.
These miles, I mean, these arrows were 10 miles away. So if I see an arrow here, I'm not seeing, or if I see a light here, I can't see the next light 10 miles
We're
away.
going. We're off.
No,
We're off.
I think this is fine. Follow the
That's a good
arrow.
point.
Only other thing I can think of is like you just look at your compass. Follow that arrow, go in true north. It could just be a signpost on the trail that points a specific way. It could be a geographic feature that looks like an arrow.
Yeah. It could be different points to the poem so far. It could be, if you plotted them on a map, could make an arrow.
The background of the actual poem is a compass with some arrows on it.
That's
Oh,
true.
it does
We've
kinda look like a
it's
sun.
always been this background though, and it has never meant
I know.
anything.
Yeah, it has.
I want it to.
I wanted to too.
I
I want them to do like a word, not word search, but like a
words.
cipher within the poem.
Oh yeah,
I would love that. And they just don't mix the QR code hunt with.
yeah.
With
There's nothing like code or anything.
And I wish they would.
It would be
Because
cool.
there are elements of the QR code hunt that I love so much.
Yeah.
Like Flappy Bird.
Like Flappy Bird. Yeah.
The last line of looking at the first 6 lines is as you play peekaboo with the pharaoh. I'm not gonna lie, this sounds kind of sexy. I'm gonna see if my wife wants to play peekaboo with the pharaoh.
Oh, buddy.
I don't know what that means, but if I look at her and say, "Girl, you want to play peekaboo with the pharaoh?" She's not thinking we're gonna go see a movie. She's pretty aware what's about to happen.
Yeah, okay.
He's pretty aware of what's about. So what is about to happen?
I don't know.
We don't need the details, but what exactly?
I don't know why
is it?
peekaboo would be a thing. Phase.
I don't think peekaboo getting serious is the most important word. I think that's just for you see it.
I think you see it.
You
and you don't
see
see
the
it.
pharaoh.
I think
What is the pharaoh? That's the important thing.
to
Follow the arrow when you see the pharaoh.
to me, I think what's interesting about this is like the peekaboo. I think it's probably somewhere on the trail. You can see a landmark, then you can't see
And you
it.
can't. Yeah.
And you can see it,
So you're going up and down hills.
and you can't see it. Like it just is some sort of physical geographic feature that you see and they can't see. Now, how that looks like a pharaoh, I don't know if it has like the famous pharaoh picture we know has like the headdress, like the king
Sure.
tut. That could be something. Or the pharaoh could just be like a name of a pharaoh, and then that name is something like to do with a geographic feature. But I
Yeah.
don't know.
Who knows at this point?
Yeah, that's the line I've spent the least time on.
There are some people that talk about hieroglyphics and having just some. I just don't think like if it's not Egyptian hieroglyphics, it doesn't really matter, and it's not going to be Egyptian hieroglyphics. So,
Right.
It could be like an obelisk or a pyramid. Is sometimes are used to
An obelisk.
Obelisk.
What's an obelisk?
It's Chelsea's obelisk. Okay.
What? Oh, Chelsea's. Okay, I thought you were talking about Chelsea Gata.
If I ever find an obelisk that belongs to Chelsea, I'm gonna freak out. Can't give this back to her.
Obelisk. Oh my. Okay.
An obelisk.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, like a pyramid or obelisk, because it is related to a pharaoh. So that could be it. There could be something with pop culture, something with pharaoh here. I don't know.
Who knows?
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. I have no idea.
Do they get? Do they go? They don't. In Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, there's no pharaoh, right?
I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that.
I'm just thinking of movies that they could potentially be.
Well, what was their Star Wars?
There isn't one in Night at the Museum.
Oh yeah.
They have the Star Wars theme or the Star Wars
Song.
as the background, the Clue release.
Oh yeah,
So
we've looked into that. Has the music ever played a
the
role?
Goonies. Wasn't the Goonies like the theme?
I don't know. It was a big deal on one of the hunts. I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember
it
which
was.
one.
There was a song that was a big.
But then they came out and clarified that no, it actually didn't.
Indiana
Oh, it was like
Jones?
accidental.
Was there Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
Can I point out one more thing?
Yeah.
The fact that it says Lionhearted Teams, the S on the teams has to be important. And shout out to Claire, my coworker and sits right next to me. Claire, you're the coolest. She brought up the point that it's plural teams, and the next line says gleam. So like, the plurality seems really, really important because if it wasn't, they would just say team because that's a better rhyme with gleam. Does it make sense? It'd be very easy to make one of those plural and one of those singular, and or both plural and both singular.
I like that, but it doesn't really narrow down our list of the things we were thinking about. 'Cause, like,
No.
pioneers,
Yeah.
Real Salt Lake Monarchs, like it still works.
Well, to me, it makes it a little less likely for the pioneers because the line works just fine to say and follow the steps of the line-hearted team. I know, but it still would be like this is the trail that was blazed
You
by
think-
a team.
Well, there's
Yeah,
a
but
reason
they
to
were-
call it pioneers and not pioneer.
That's such a good point.
That's a great point.
It's-
But I agree with you that they were all pioneers and they were all part of the same movement westward, but they were different groups of people and
Yeah, so
different,
different
teams.
teams. That's true.
I mean, at this point, in this point, we're in the third line of the poem. We know we're a little bit more honed in on what the teams are referring to. You know what I mean? So like it's just maybe specific pioneers or someone within it had a quote that we're looking at.
I'll tell you right now, and when Dave and John come on our podcast, because you're coming on. Oh, you've made it a tradition. Do you have to go to the bathroom? Where are you going? He's running off somewhere.
No.
Please come and join our podcast, John Dave. We love that. It's our favorite episode of the year. And we'd love
It's
to have
the
you come
best.
by with some Ponka Ball again. Let's make some jokes and some memories. I think one of the first thing I'm going to try to dig for is that Lion-hearted teams. I bet that is
Oh
something
yeah,
that people
that's huge. Yeah, for sure.
we're going to really.
Oh yeah, we got some jerseys for you,
We got some jerseys for Dave and Max.
Dave and Max,
Dave and Max.
Dave and John. All right.
we'd love for you to come.
Hopefully they like those numbers. I didn't see
What did you give them? 6 and 7.
6 and 7. 6 and 7.
Nice.
Solid.
Okay, that was it. That's the first 6 lines. Thanks for being patient for us as we ramble and unravel. And we hope you enjoyed the video.
Yeah,
Good to
if
see
this
what-
is new for us, we'll see if
in real life, in the
Yeah.
world.
I think we'll keep it going. The video.
Yeah, it took a minute to set up, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Anything else? Did we miss anything?
I mean, I'm sure we missed a lot of stuff, but we're just getting into it. I think have they announced that they'll like do a weekly?
This Friday, we're going to get the
Okay.
first clue, which don't get excited. It's probably just going to be
It's
the
probably
boundary.
just the boundary.
Badger. Yeah.
But yeah, any thoughts? We'd love to hear any thoughts or solves that you guys have so far. We'll probably go through some of those that we get
Yeah,
submitted to us.
That's our favorite part
We love
of this
that.
whole thing
Yeah.
is when people reach out and interact. So please tell us all your best ideas. We'll share
and we'll
them.
split it with you. We'll split the treasure with you.
No, we
That offer still stands
what?
for
but
anyone
We
listening.
have 2 jerseys. We have
have-
Jackie and Oyster Tag.
Yeah.
Come on, come into the fold. We'd love to have them. We need 2 more team members, especially when it comes to hiking and
Yeah,
anywhere
if you
up north where we can't get to.
Or I don't want to get to.
That tree.
Has more to do with it.
But Becca likes to hike.
Becca does like hiking. So Becca has a shirt and it says Daily on the back
Mm.
because that's her last name.
Or how often he goes to that well. Realize
Okay.
it's not doesn't say weekly, am I right? No, that even
All right.
means. Thank you so much. Tune in next week.
yeah.
Next Friday, we'll release the next episode. Talked about the next 6 lines, so we'll have better
Well,
ideas.
next Friday we'll record. It'll probably be later. Probably Saturday or Monday.
I love you guys.
Okay, thanks so much, and
Yeah.
we'll catch you outside on the next one, or catch us on the next one outside.
It's your thing.
I know.
It's been a long time.